Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 14th, 2022, 6 p.m. regular meeting of the Bell Garden Successor Agency to the Community Development Commission. The meeting will now come to order at 6:07 p.m. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, please be advised that members of the Bell Garden Successor Agency may participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any agency member should have a conflict of interest, please announce any items that you're recusing from due to a conflict of interest prior to the item being heard. Tonight's invocation will be given by Director Gustavo Romo, and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by City Manager Mike O'Kelly.
Council, Mayor.
Gus, if you wouldn't mind doing the invocation, thank you for the last minute volunteering.
No problem, Mike, my pleasure. God, we ask you to bless this meeting and our mayor, council members. We ask that you give us all peace and allow us to have this meeting done in a proper manner. Thank you for all the participation in the voting and for the wonderful election that happened throughout our nation. We ask you, in the name of Christ, amen.
Please rise, face the flag, place your right hand over your heart, and say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Agency Secretary, will you please call the roll of the successor agency?
Yes, thank you. Agency members, Barcena.
Present.
Cortez.
Present.
Flores Franco.
Present.
Vice Chair Chavez.
Present.
And Chair Pulido. Absent. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We will now move on to the first item on the agenda. Public participation is now open. Agency Secretary, will you please announce the instructions for public participation?
Yes, thank you. From the members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items listed on the successor agency agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the chair and agency members. Each speaker and written comment is limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom may request to provide a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom. And for the record, we did not receive any written comments. I do have 2 hands raised. Zoom ID. It looks like you've made yourself successfully. If you would please provide your comment. You have 3 minutes. I think you have some feedback on background there.
Yes. Can you hear me, humans?
Yes, we could hear you.
Oh,
You may
okay,
proceed with your comment.
Yes. So again, here we are again in the famous city of Bell Gardens, home of gambling and all kinds of other sordid activities. Yes. So what's the big problem is you had a takeover. What are you talking about? Well, the Downey mayor is now taking over Bell Gardens. She's going to be your assembly person, and her name is Blanca Pacheco. Blanca Pacheco's been getting around. She's been going all the way over to other cities and apparently making a lot of money. Yes, and she's building an empire. And what are you doing? Are you concerned? No. You're sitting here with a fancy timer listening to a little tiny farm animal speak when you should be protecting your city against these invaders, these hordes from the Downey City Council. They're evil. They're bad. And you have to watch out for them because you remember the last time you guys got busted? It started over there at Bell, moved its way to Maywood, and then the cancer spreads. And we don't want that, do we? No, 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 no. So what we want to do is go to live meetings entirely. Do away with this AB 361 demon and bring local control back to our governments for all of our own health and safety and welfare. Because when you meet remotely, things are difficult. Like, for example, handing bags of cash, for example, are impossible on Zoom. You have to get on Zoom, stop a drop-off, but then again, you have to text where the drop-off is, and then snitches are getting these informations through these public record requests, and we can't have that. We have to go back to the old days, back when we used to go down the street there and have a drink, go over to the casino after the meeting, and then trade the chips for cash deal. Not like Jose Weezar did over there in Las Vegas. No, 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 no. You don't take and go to the bathroom and bring out $10,000 worth of chips and cash out. Well, every snitch in the parking lot will call the IRS on that. So again, you guys were lucky you're going to keep the Senate. But beware, in 2 years, those evil Republicans will be back with their horns, taking over.
Your time is up. Are there any other speakers that would like to provide a comment? Please select. Thank you. The last three numbers, 024, if you would please dial *6 to unmute yourself or select unmute from your device. Thank you. You've successfully unmuted yourself. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you.
Oh, thank you for hearing me, humans. Money doesn't grow on trees, but Blanca of Olmo just won a Senate seat, meaning more criminal corruption. Now, why do I say that? Because corruption spells fucking the taxpayers. Now, I don't wish to be offensive in my vocabulary, but you motherfuckers know how whores and pimps steal money? They loot the coffers of the taxpayers' money. Just like Miss Rios from Downey, the cunt that sucked Jose Luis Weezar's cock, and now pleaded in the indictment against her husband and mother-in-law and her stupid brother-in-law, Salvador, for accepting bribe money. The same money that the little goat was talking to you about that was discovered in brown bags and $100 bills stacked at 1 inch thick in his secret compartments of his clothing. Just like the $100,000 found in his jacket because one of his staff, George Esparza, ratted the fucking fool out. Now, I understand you got to have escorts and pussy, but you women, stop giving up your right to your man to fuck another woman. That's called prostitution. And prostitution is still illegal in the United States and here in Sacramento, but you dumb niggas keep wanting to do the bad thing. So let's talk about the bad thing. Well, Blanca Pacheco from Olmo is building an empire, and all her little puppeteers are whoring around those little towns of yours, getting your vote. So as I said on record before, a dirty nigger, Brandenburg versus Ohio, US 395, 444-1969. Let's save America. And let's look at the consent items on number 10 when we talk about disabled parking that you motherfuckers continue to be discriminatory against. I want to thank you, Mayor, for accepting my information And in the future, dial 310-477-6565. I reach out to the public. Don't be nigger fools.
Your time is
Speak up and protect your First Amendment.
Okay, that was the last comment. I have another hand raised, but it's they already provided their comments, so we will wait until the next item.
Thank you so much for that. If there's no objection by the agency members, I will close public participation. We will now move on to the consent calendar. Does any member of the agency wish to pull an item for separate discussion? Seeing none, if there's no further questions, I will call for a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar. May I have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Flores. May I have a second?
Second, Cortez.
Second by Councilwoman Cortez. We have a motion and a second. Agency Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call?
Yes, thank you. Agency member, Barcena,
Yes.
Cortez,
Yes.
Flores Franco,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chavez,
Yes.
and Chair Polino is absent.
Thank you for that. We will now move on to public participation for non-agenda items. Public participation is now open. Agency Secretary, will you please announce the instructions?
Yes, thank you. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the successor agency agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the chair and agency members. Each speaker and written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute with a microphone icon when instructed. We did not receive any written comments for this. Zoom ID, you may now proceed with your comment. You have 3 minutes.
Yes. So we got a copy of your agenda. Yes. But what you forgot to do was tell the humans that they could come on and give their testimony on this pretty little Zoom thing. You were trying to relegate them to a mere phone call, dialing a 669 area code. And then you unforgivably gave a phony password, *2021#. No. The actual password, people, is simply 2021. Why would you put a star in front of it? Because when I tried and I went to my other FBI snitches, I said, "Did you see what I just did?" And the one guy, Willie, said, "Yeah, man, Bell Garden always cooking. Now he's cooking back when the day when I was dipping there, man. They were always doing crap like that." That's right. Yes. And so finally, we went ahead and tried it a couple of times and succeeded. So the public now will know that you can log on to Zoom and put in the code. And you can remain anonymous if you wish. I would strongly recommend it, especially if you're a prostitute. Nothing wrong with prostitutes, but I'm just saying. And then when it asks for your passcode, just dial 2021 without that phony star and that pound in front. Were you trying to trick me? I'm an animal. I'm a goat. As you know, a goat is a sign of the devil. Yes, your minister's there. He can tell you what a goat means. Yes. I'm a speaking goat. And I have horns, yellow horns, and pretty fur. I wish you could see me. But do I have video privileges? No. How come I can't be seen? You can be seen. How come I can't show my pretty little horns and face? Is it because you don't want the public to be seen? But I can tell you another city that also does crooked things. And that, of course, is Downey. Did you know, people, that they shut the video off and put on a blank screen only during the time the public speaks? No way. Yes, you can look on YouTube at the last Downey City Council meeting. And I have good news. There are three things that bring the FBI's attention to any municipality. One, phony trash contracts. Two, dirty sewer contracts. Yes. And the third one, obstructing with public participation in meetings. Those are the three bells that you ring. Thank you, Los Angeles City Council and Downey.
Thank you. Your time is up. Caller with the last three numbers, 024, if you would please select the microphone icon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you may proceed with your comment.
Good. You're not obstructing me from participating. You're not obstructing me from First Amendment protection. And what about Bautista versus LA County? A sheriff fucking a prostitute on his own time, off the clock, and he sued LA County. Bautista versus LAC, Board of Supervisors, Sheriff Department. Naughty, naughty, naughty. And what about that moron, Mr. Alex Villain? He's out of a motherfucking job, like you will be soon, OMLO lawyer. Just like John Ascooey of Downey, the Central Basin nigger that ran off like a little twat with a pussy finger between his legs, dripping all that water Central Basin juice, leading a trail to Negrete nigga. Who's Negrete? That sounds offensive. That sounds like niggerette, a guy that smokes cigarettes, like Herb Weston Jr., the dumb fucking chongo of CD10, who was ousted this past year for his participation in which he did not belong in. Oh, that poor John Ascooey fool. He brought so much attention to Omo, and that dumbass lawyer, bitch, asshole, shit-faced, pencil neck, rubber stamping motherfucker that's been robbing us day in and day out. So I know item 10 you're going to adopt to solve the Gallen Street once and for all and provide an installation for disabled parking. Otherwise, we're going to have the DOJ Civil Rights investigate your Department of ADA coordinator and file a complaint of discrimination, and motherfuckers are fucked up doing stupid shit like that. Just like on item 12, First Amendment to the Professional Service, 42 U.S.C. 1983. Fuck you, Mayor. And fuck those other 4 or 5 morons that sit along the deities there. There is no sanctuary city in Bell Gardens, motherfucker. We are the new enforcers of the new America, and we're going to take it back from Blanca and that fat, fiery mouth, other than Miss Fat Fometa Claudia, who again threatened a voter on the register who was looking for a job as a mayor. She a motherfucking psychopath. You niggas should learn from her that there is nothing equitable.
Caller with the last 3 numbers, 849. Please select *6 to unmute your call. Thank you. You may proceed with your comment. Verbal comment. Okay, that was the last caller. Actually, it looks like we did receive one other person who raised their hand, a caller with the last 3 numbers, 108.
Yeah, hi.
Oh.
I got a question for you. How is the government of Bell Gardens sanctioning this meeting with only for those who are believers in Jesus Christ, as opposed to any other religion or no religion? Because I got to tell you, you are begging for a costly discrimination lawsuit. The city of Los Angeles just had this major scandal where the city council president clearly was motivated by racial hate against blacks, Oaxacans, Armenians, Jews, and others. And in the wake of that national scandal where the president got involved, you are saying a prayer and having this meeting only under some belief that Jesus Christ, as opposed to Allah, or as opposed to no God, or as opposed to a Vishnu, or any other God that any other member of this community believes in, or doesn't believe in any God. How is it that you are choosing to discriminate against anybody who does not believe in Jesus Christ? City after city after city after city across this country has been sued, and not one has won by having a meeting sanctioned with a religious overtone. So I'm not sure why that's going on, but I have a feeling that if it continues, the city's going to get hit with a lawsuit for discriminating against people
within the city's jurisdiction, because that is
well, this is
we're to listen to.
Well, actually, I am talking about how this meeting started. That's under your purview, is it not? This was a religious prayer that started at the beginning of this meeting. How can you say it's not under your purview? I don't get that. But that's your call. I'm not sure why you're sanctioning it, but I'm pretty sure it's an unwise idea, at least from a legal standpoint. So good luck to you on that. Hope it works out. I don't have standing for that, but good luck to you on that.
Okay, that was the last caller.
Okay. If there's no speakers or written comments, then there's no objection by city council. I will close public participation. Does any agency member wish to make a comment? Seeing none, if there's no objection by the successor agency, I will adjourn the successor agency meeting at 6:30 p.m. and call to order the city council meeting. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 14, 2022, 6 p.m. regular meeting of the Bell Garden City Council. The meeting will now come to order at 6:30 p.m. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, please be advised that members of the Bell Garden City Council may participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. Council members, please announce any item you are recusing from due to a conflict of interest prior to the item being heard. City Clerk, will you please call the roll of the City Council?
Yes, Council members Barcena,
Present.
Councilwoman Cortez,
Present.
Councilwoman Flores Franco,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Present.
and Mayor Polino is absent.
Thank you for that. We will now move on to the presentations. City Manager, will you please introduce the first presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This first item is a certificate of recognition for Caroline Angela Scotto to congratulate her for her graduation from the United States Marine Corps Basic Training Boot Camp in Parris Island, South Carolina.
All right, certificate recognition presented to Carolina Angel Escoto. On behalf of the Bell Garden City Council, we commend you on your hard work and dedication to your country by completing rigorous basic training on November 10th, 2022, and committing to the core values of the United States Marine Corps. Congratulations on your selfless service to the nation. We wish you much success. And at a time when, during this weekend, we had a long weekend and we celebrated Veterans Day, I can't think of any more perfect timing. So I encourage Carolina to, if she has any words. I believe her mother's alongside her, and La Señora Ramos and I have been in contact. So this is a huge honor on behalf of the city. And by all means, the floor is yours if you want to say any comments.
I'd just like to say thank you so much. I think it's very nice that I kind of get to represent the city where I grew up and I went to school and everything. So I'm really proud of that and of myself.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Verónica Ramos, soy residente de aquí de la ciudad de Bell Gardens. Desde hace 15 años vivo con mis hijos. Soy madre soltera, tengo 3 hijos que los 3 han salido adelante y la más chiquita es la Marín. Mis 3 hijos han graduado de la High School de Bell Gardens, por lo cual estoy muy orgullosa de vivir en esta ciudad. Estuve platicando con el señor Jorge y fue muy amable y muy atento en poder darme un reconocimiento a mi hija, por lo que les agradezco a todo el concilio de aquí de la ciudad de todo corazón. Muchísimas gracias.
I want to open it up to my colleagues. If anybody would like to share some words, I encourage you all, and by all means, the floor is open.
I just want to congratulate you. I know, joining the Marines and going to basic training is probably one of the hardest of all the branches, or so I've heard. We have an Army veteran here, but congratulations on sticking through it and representing our community. Y usted, muchas felicidades, señora, porque gracias a usted, sus hijos han llegado hasta donde están, incluyéndola a ella. Y me imagino que usted fue un símbolo de fortaleza para ella. Y muchas felicidades a usted y a su familia.
Muchas gracias.
I just want to say congratulations. I know that it's a very male-dominated career path that you've chosen to be a part of, and it is phenomenal to see you thrive, to be from Bell Gardens, and we're so proud of you. A usted también felicidades, lo mismo. Lo que ella ha escogido no es algo común ni fácil, y mucho menos para una jovencita. Siendo mujer es más difícil, los obstáculos siempre van a ser más difíciles, el criticismo y todo siempre va a ser más grande, y que ella haya logrado eso es simplemente una etapa de las más grandes que vienen en el futuro. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Carolyn. I just want to say congratulations on a job well done. I want to congratulate not only you, but also your mom. And I noticed that when you said that you kind of represent Bell Gardens, I really appreciate how humble you are, but I want you to be proud because you really do represent the city, and not only the city, you also represent women and you represent your people here in Bell Gardens, and you have to be very proud. You've done a great job, and don't ever forget that it's been harder for you than a lot of other people, and that's why it means so much more. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
So briefly, I'm curious, what led you or what motivated you to join the Marines? I'm curious to know that, or why the Marines over the other branches?
Honestly, I never it was never in my plan. I always wanted to be a detective. One thing that I can say that it goes hand in hand, I just always wanted to help people or help make a difference in a way. And the training of the Marines is the hardest. And I was scared, I've always been in sports and everything. And I've always been fit, but I was so scared. But I knew that if I challenged myself and that if I did it, I could do anything,
Thank you again, really appreciate it. And on behalf of the City Council, here's your certificate, and we all can take a picture, that'd be great.
Oh, allá o aquí. Marco, ¿cómo está? Usted saluda, yo lo veo. Señora Cortés, ¿cómo está?
He just changes his person.
Really?
It probably could be. Go ahead, Krista. I'll go after you. 1, 2, 3. Ready for help? Wonderful. Okay, here we go. 1, 1, 2, 3. Wonderful.
One, 1, 2, 3. And another one, 1, 2, 3.
No, that's fine.
All right. Awesome recognition for someone who is doing and chosen a great career path to serve in the armed services. We will now move on to the next item on the agenda. Public participation is now open for items listed on the city council agenda. City clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you. Members of the public will have now an opportunity to speak on items listed on the council agenda. Please state your name for the record, and each speaker and written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We'll begin to hear from the members of the public that are physically present in the council chamber. Bruce Crow, if you would please come up to the podium.
Good evening, Bruce Crow, native son of Bell Gardens, back when it was called Billy Goat Acres, BG. Okay, I just want to make a comment. I wasn't going to comment in this section, but a couple things came up on here and I thought they were kind of interesting. They've been coming up in other cities as well. I'm from Downey. I don't know if Blanca Pacheco is building an empire or not, but anyway, there's been something going on that I think is disturbing. I know you guys have been practicing it for a while, but number one is a general motion to waive the full reading and approve ordinances. I think it's kind of an excuse not to be cognitively aware of what you're passing. People are not reading the proposals. They're not reading the ordinances. They're just passing things along and don't even have a clue what they're voting on. And I think it's a disservice to the voters who you are accountable to. Remember, you work for the voters, the sovereign voter. And to read these things is a good idea, to slow down and pay attention to what you're looking at. It's very, very important. Stop just rubber stamping things, because you're not getting anything done. You're getting bad things done, usually. An example of that would be your treasurer's report. Hopefully, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lecture you guys. I'm the visitor. Hopefully you've read the treasurer's report and you accept it as is, if it's legitimate. And number 6, consideration of reaffirming the resolution of meeting remotely or whatever. I think you should look to reject any of these emergency orders. Even an example of here locally of everybody having a mask on. We now know that the masks only prevent bacteria, not viruses. We look foolish up here going along with something like this. And we think it's why people have distrust in the medical profession now and the science people, because you know, all these things have not been truthful that were delivered to us. And there's going to be a demanding of people be accountable for what they've done to people. You went along with canceling people's businesses, their jobs, their careers, and people are demanding justice for this. No amnesty, no COVID amnesty is going to be acceptable now. You've done some very bad things to people if you went along with this, just like an armed guard at an Auschwitz gas chamber, just went along with it just to make sure the trains are running on time.
Thank you. For Zoom ID, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device.
Yes. And thank you for that. Yes, the city was called Billy Goat Acres. Yes, that's why I'm a goat, and that's why I speak here as a goat. And I'm so proud that somebody figured that out. How come none of you on the city council figured it out? They don't know anything. Right, exactly, whoever that was. Maybe it was a voice in my mind. Maybe it was an undercover agent. I don't know. But what I do know is we have some very strange things going on here. We don't take things in order. We just bunch up things, don't read things, prepackage things, and pass things without reading or even wondering what they are. Yes, that's what all of these little cities are doing. Bell Gardens, Wood, El Monte, South El Monte. And what do they have in common? They have a lot of poor people getting poorer and poorer and poorer every fucking year. Well, you look at the wealthy communities and see how they handle their city council meetings, like Beverly Hills and Malibu. They take each item, read each item separately, and give members of the public, even a talking animal, an opportunity to speak on it after hearing the report from staff. Yes, but not you guys. You're busy doing other things. After all, it's 6:48. And what do you want to really be doing? Listening to the public? No. Would you want to be eating a Big Mac? Maybe. Now, what you really want to do is get over to that casino, because your winnings are waiting for you, aren't they? Yes. You can go in the back at the high roller table, and you can sit down next to somebody and put down your $50 in chips. And then underneath the table, your campaign donor will shove you a bag with $5,000 worth of chips. And you'll gamble for about an hour, use the restroom, and then you'll come out and cash about $900, keeping it under $1,000. And that's the difference. Most people are smarter than Jose Luis Luis are. Yeah, so remember, everybody, when you cash too many chips when coming out of the bathroom, you too can wind up on trial with the FBI, where not only your mother testifies against you, not only your brother, but also your own spouse. Imagine his own wife, an attorney, got up there last week, and I'm sure you all know what I mean, and talked about putting cash in her bank accounts. Shame on you people. Learn to be better crooks.
That was the last caller.
There's no objection by the city council. I will close public participation. City manager, will you please give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Since our last meeting, there have been a lot of community events I'd like to mention, and quite a few that are coming up here. Just would like to acknowledge the Family Healthcare Center up here on the corner of Gage and Garfield held their 13th annual breast cancer awareness walk and health fair that was highly attended. Everybody was wearing pink. On October 31st, we had our Dia de los Muertos and Halloween Carnival. I think several thousand people were in attendance. So thank you to staff, all the residents, the council members, the vendors that came out. It was an event that seemed like even when it closed at 9 o'clock, it seemed like people were still ready to stick around until maybe 9:30 or 10 to buy from the vendors. So I think that was a success, especially after COVID. It's nice to see these events come back strong like that. Also want to mention on November 5th, thank you to the volunteers in the Los Angeles Conservation Corps for tree planting at Ford Park. They planted 15 trees and taught some young people the art of planting a tree, how to set the base so that the tree will be watered appropriately without any waste. Also, I'd like to acknowledge our Veterans Day event. Thanks again for staff, veterans, members of the public for coming out on Friday. And also just again, like to acknowledge the new Marine that was here, 5-year active duty. So a serious commitment to the country from a young person. It was very nice to see. And that spirit was honored on Friday. Also, like to mention last weekend on Saturday, we had our family fishing derby, always popular, always get a lot of questions about that on November 30th. So this is upcoming. We have our tree lighting ceremony. They'll be held out here in front of City Hall at 6:30 p.m. And then just the last thing I'd like to mention, it's a little ways off, about 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to have the first of a 3-part series of mental health workshops at the Community Family Services Center. This is something new. I don't think we've done this before. And the first one will be on a drug and alcohol prevention training, so people can sign up. There are prizes for signing up, and that's on December 3rd, 10:30 a.m. These are all items that are available to be seen on the City of Bell Gardens calendar. So if anybody wants further information, just Google City of Bell Gardens calendar, and you can find all of these items. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you for that. We will now move on to the consent calendar. Does any member of the city council wish to pull an item for separate discussion? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve items number 1 through 13 on the consent calendar?
So moved, Cortez.
Second, Flores.
You have a motion by Councilwoman Cortez, a second by Councilwoman Flores Franco. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Barsena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cortez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Flores Franco,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes, for me.
and Mayor Pulido's absent.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 14, City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 14?
Thanks again, Mayor Pro Tem. This item is an update on crossing guard services. This has been a request from several council members over the last, I'd say, 6 to 12 months, including most recently, I think, by Mayor Pro Tem. So our Public Works Director, Grisel Chavez, is going to update the council on how many crossing guards do we have, where are they located, what's the cost, and then also seek some direction on potentially deploying and seeking funding for additional crossing guards. With that, I'll turn it over to Director Chavez. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. This will be a very brief presentation. As you've read in the report, the city has been contracting with all city management services for providing crossing guard services throughout the city. And we currently have 7 crossing guard locations as shown in the map that was provided to council, and I'll also share in the presentation shortly, but they're
Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and switch out the slides. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daisy. So to specifically share those locations, there's 3 roughly on Florence Avenue and north of, and then 4 south of Florence Avenue in the locations shown here on this first slide. One moment, please.
Is it not working?
Oh, there you go. Thank you. The existing crossing guard service is currently provided at a cost of approximately $128,000 annually for those 7 locations. Our Public Works Department spoke with the Police Department about possible other locations that could be expanded upon for crossing guard services, and they provided a list of 8 recommended locations, also provided in the map. I'll share again. Roughly would be about 5 locations on the north end of the city, and then 3 locations towards the south end of the city. So these locations proposed, starting with Gage and Jaboneria Road, that would service Bell Gardens High School and Cesar Chavez Elementary, Eastern Avenue at Jaboneria for Bell Gardens Elementary, Intermediate, and the high school, Jaboneria Road and Priory Street, for the same locations, Live Oak Street and Purdy Avenue for Bell Gardens Intermediate School, Gage Avenue and Colmar Avenue for Bell Gardens High School and Cesar Chavez Elementary, Jaboneria Road and Agra for Bell Gardens High School, Colmar Avenue and Agra for the high school as well, and Gage Avenue and Darwell for high school and the Cesar Chavez Elementary. So it's based on feedback, again, from the traffic enforcement team, the school officers, And basically our expert personnel here that feel that these locations would enhance the safety of the motorists, pedestrians, students, parents. The next slide is just a map. Oh, there's the slide. The red locations are the proposed crossing guard locations if all 8 were deployed. The green star locations are where the existing 7 locations are now. So as shared, the cost of the crossing guard annual service is set and budgeted in our public works budget now. If additional crossing guard locations were deployed, it would cost approximately $18,500 annually for one crossing guard. And that would be up to $148,000 annually for all 8 crossing guards if the city so added them. And if directed by council, staff would contact the Montebello Unified School District to discuss funding and cost sharing for the proposed expansion of crossing guard service. As currently the city pays for the cost solely at our own expense. So at this time, staff is seeking recommendation from the city council for either of 2 options: to receive and file the report, or direct staff on deployment of any additional crossing guard locations and seek possible funding from the Montebello Unified School District. And that concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions from council. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Maya?
Absolutely.
I do want to add an additional crossing guard. Several parents from BGI have contacted me, and I think they wanted to even collect signatures, which I told them was not necessary. But they feel very strongly about having a crossing guard on Florence and Elsa Linda. I believe there was recently a traffic incident. There is a light there, but they just feel, teenagers are not watching the street light when they're crossing. So parents do feel that there is one that needs to, or that we do need to have one there in that intersection. So we could please add that to the list, Florence and Elsa Linda.
Location added to the list. Thank you, Councilmember Cortez.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem, if I may.
Yeah.
Just a question for the city manager. Would us seeking support from the Montebello Unified School District get in the way of maybe other funds or anything like that that we need to worry about? Are we competing with other allocations of funding? Or would it be pretty safe to ask for help there?
No, Councilmember Barson, I think it would be pretty safe for us to ask for help. I think just in light of the fact that we're working with the school district, with our police department and school resource officers, we're hopeful there may be some synergy there. And then the plan would be to have a discussion with them and then to bring an item back to council as well. But I don't think it will get in the way of any other potential funding sources.
Okay, thank you. In that case, and if there aren't any other comments, I'd just like to motion to ask for help from the Montebello Unified School District.
Okay. I think on my end, I'm glad to see this item being brought to us. In the last meeting, I did mention a little bit about this conversation in regards to crossing guards, and I'm glad to see that it's here. I do want to echo Councilwoman Cortez's comments in regards to a crossing guard being needed in Elsa Linda and Florence. I remember I've gotten quite a few suggestions and conversations that I've had with residents in regards to there being crossing guard there. And I do believe there's been an incident in the past, where there's someone who might have passed away or gotten hurt. So I'm glad to see that this item is here. I believe there is a motion on the floor by Councilmember Barcena. Is there a second? We have a second by Councilwoman Flores Franco. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Councilmember Barcena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cortez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Flores Franco,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
and Mayor Pulido's absent.
Thank you so much. Moving on to public participation on non-agenda items. Public participation is now open for items not listed on the City Council agenda. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the agenda under the subject matter of the City Council. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker and written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from the members of the public that are physically present in the council chamber. Bruce Crow, if you would please come to the podium and provide your comment. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, Bruce Crow again, from Downey. We're still having an issue of the Central Basin Municipal Water District, and it's being squashed. We're not being informed. There is no information forthcoming to the residents and the water rate payers. We pay the bill for the illegal activity going on, and we're getting absolutely nothing from our city council. And now there's also a gentleman whose name was brought up here. They mispronounced it, but it was a former assistant city manager who was appointed onto the water basin named John Osqui. And he hired a law firm, which is headed by Rick Oliveras, to attack a member that was voted onto the Central Basin. And we don't know what happened to this guy. Where is John Osqui? We keep asking. He was put on administrative leave. And we don't know the reason why. But he really went into silence from the water district. And then he was allowed to retire in October while continually being on the city's payroll all that time for about 7 months. And he was in coordination with the law firm of Rick Oliveras. And there was a court ruling that would have informed the residents of what was going on with their illegal rate pay hike. And it's never been, the meter charge is what it's called. And it's never been brought forth at a city council meeting, and we should know about it. We are the ratepayers. I mean, our city council has a fiduciary responsibility to us ratepayers. Now, to ignore us is totally irresponsible. And it's kind of mean if you ask me, but that's where we are. And for the young lady that is in the Marines, good on her, Semper Fi. I remember even 3 older brothers that came back from Vietnam, and people spit on them, called them baby killers. I hope nothing like that happens to her. And it's not about her genitalia being in a male-dominated organization or her people. That would be something interesting to look into a little bit more. She is here to serve and protect our freedoms, and we thank her for that. Not her service, but our freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you. I did not receive any other public comment cards for in person, but we do have someone on Zoom. Zoom ID, if you would please go ahead and select, you have successfully unmuted yourself. You have 3 minutes.
Right. Yes, I have a virtual hoof, by the way. Yes, so what did we learn tonight? Well, the last item, that was not on the consent item. That's not a consent item. No. So under the Brown Act, you were required to take public comment before the motion was passed. What are you talking about? Well, human. It was a debated item, stealing with money. The other items on the consent calendar are voted on as one item, unaltered, in prior committee where an opportunity to be heard was allegedly made. And of course, you didn't do it. No, you substantially modified the motion and asked the school board for the money, which, by the way, was a good idea. That's what I was going to say. And just went ahead and passed it without the aforementioned public comment being open on that item. And your city attorney sat right around there and just let it happen, right? But as I can see, you share something in common with two other cities, La Puente and El Monte. Yes, you are the proud members of the Rick Oliveris fan club. Congratulations. Yay. Yes, very good. And I'm sure you're getting the most cost-effective service available anywhere in California. $50, $100 an hour? No. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Is it more? Oh, a lot more. Well, about that. Yes, and then of course, when the public speaks in your chambers, just like Downey, just like Blanca, who apparently knows Rick Oliveris very well, I hear, you black out the public. So we only see the timer on a blank screen, and we were not able to see who the gentleman was that was speaking. You blacked him out so that we can't see who he is, and you interfere with his participation equally. But when it comes to a presentation, you let the lady come up with her pretty uniform and medals. I saw that. But when the public comes up to speak, you just put up a blank stare and a blank screen and a clock so that the public cannot be seen. And you know why you do that, don't you? Can anybody guess why? Yeah, that's to minimize public participation. That's right, human. Yes, that's right. It's to make sure that the public keeps quiet. Because remember, you can't speak against the people that are in charge. That's how you know who is in charge. And all of you that voted, remember what Mark Twain said. If voting mattered, they'd make it illegal.
Thank you. Your time is up. That is all the callers we have at this time.
There's no more speakers or written comments, and if there's no objection by the city council, I will close public participation. We will now move on to council member comments, starting off with council member Barcena.
Thank you. I want to thank staff for making it through these times of elections. I know that it's been a little bit nerve-wracking for you guys. I also want to thank my colleagues for coming back. Everyone's here except the mayor. I think something happened, but I appreciate that everyone's here. I want to say thank you to everyone that has reached out to congratulate me. And I apologize that I've been a little bit laying low. I just want to make sure that the entire count comes through. And I do that out of respect to some of my running mates. I know that it is a little bit close with the votes that have come out. And I just want to make sure everything gets flushed out before I celebrate, like I said, out of respect. And I want to thank all the candidates that ran. I think everyone did their best to remain fair and follow the rules. And yeah, overall, thank you everybody for staying on board with this process. I know it was difficult, but at least for myself, I'm relieved that the results are already trickling out and we're getting the final counts. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councilwoman Cortez.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to thank our departments for the amazing events that they have put up in the last couple of weeks since our last council meeting. Our Halloween event, the fishing derby, I heard was pretty successful. And just you guys have been rocking in. Thank you so much. I know there's been shifts in staff, so you've been making it work, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you all have some time to celebrate with your loved ones and just share a good meal together. So happy Thanksgiving. Feliz Día de Acción de Gracias. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman Cortez. Councilwoman Flores Franco.
Yes. Well, I just want to say the same thing. Thank you so much to staff, especially to you, Grisel. I know that over the last couple of weeks, you've gotten numerous concerns from residents, but you've done a tremendous job in addressing every single one of them and in a timely manner. I have no idea how you did it, but I'm so grateful for you. So thank you, and to all the departments for all the work that you guys do. I did want to touch base on something. I had the opportunity about 2 weeks ago to go to a Long Beach port tour with Mayor Robert Garcia. We went over the pollution in our community, right? We don't have a port, but we're affected by the ports. Living next to the 710 freeway does take away about 5 to 10 years of our lives. So this freeway here is affecting the young lungs of our children, our families, and ourselves. So what are we doing about it, right? How can we help? So Mr. Robert Garcia announced a new grant program for all of Southeast LA and gateway cities. I did have the opportunity to meet with some Port Executive Director Mario Cordero, which I believe City Manager, you already have this information, so that we can start collaborating and making sure that we are giving back to they're giving back to our children, but making sure that it's going into whether it be air filters or trees or anything to alleviate the pollution that enters our bodies. Because again, although we don't have a port, we are affected by them. There's these international vessels that just linger in our ocean, and we are taking in that pollution from there, plus at the expense of our children's lungs. Our trucks are passing by here, going to the middle of America, and there's nothing that's coming back here from that. And that's the unfortunate reality for our city and for our children. And so to be able to be a part of this very special day where they announced this new grant opportunity, I'm really grateful. It's going to work such as a kind of a mitigation fund. I did run into Jocelyn Del Real from East Yards, and I briefly commented to her. So I plan on reaching back out to East Yards and making sure that they're aware, because I feel that that would be a great person, a great direct contact to be able to tap into those new funds. And with that, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving, everyone. It's been an amazing month so far, full of adrenaline. And so let's make sure we all relax and take it easy. Be kind to one another. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. As for my comments, briefly, just want to go ahead and recap on the quite a few events that we had. I know some of my colleagues already mentioned them. The Halloween Carnival was incredible. We had thousands of people come out from our community. It's always a toss up with these things, and where, we were coming out of the pandemic. And I remember last year we had 2 separate events where we had a Halloween one, then we had a Dia de los Muertos one the day after. And I can say that in this event, in this, this turnout that we had, it was just incredible, right? Huge shout out to all the rec leaders that were out there. We had volunteers from the high school. Everyone, we really came together as a team. And from my perspective, when it comes to approaching these events, it's a bit difficult, because on one hand, you have like an event like Halloween, which is, it's goons and goblins and dungeons and scary stuff. And on the other hand, you have an event where it's much more cultural, right? You have Dia de los Muertos that symbolizes something, especially within Latinx, Latinos, and Mexican American culture, right? So I was a bit skeptical at first, thinking about it, and maybe perhaps touching bases how we did it last year, where we just had them separate. But I think overall the turnout was the way and the approach that we took as a city, the way the residents, it was like in completely separate floors, and it was just incredible. I loved it. And some of the words that I said when we were up there doing the judging for the Halloween costumes, it's just fun. It's very tough to pick the scariest, the best handmade, etc. When we were up there, I mentioned something along the lines that, this is things that we have here in our city of Bell Gardens, right? We don't have to go to the west side. We don't have to go to Orange County. We don't have to go to Downey. Perhaps we could stay here in our own city, and we can do these events, and we could do even better, right? And I'm just really proud to say that. As a Bell Gardens resident, because I really love that event. I think that on some of the forums online, the feedback that we were getting was just phenomenal. Some folks did trick-or-treating in the beginning, and then they went to the event, or vice versa. I think that it's these type of events, these type of exposure, where we had then social media, we had banners all over the city. That's what it's about. So I'm really glad to see the turnout that we had. Shout out to all the departments that were there, PD, Public Works. It was really great seeing everybody there, giving out candy. We had our own booth as well. Shout out to my colleagues that also dressed up for the Halloween event, which was fun. So touching bases on that was a great event. I thought I was going to take less time, but I'm already down to my 3 minutes. So after that, that same week, later that week, I should say, we had a ribbon cutting for our playground and neighborhood youth center. It was really great turnout as well. We had a lot of, it's a lot of young kids, and they were all going, they had a lot of energy when it came to being the first one to ride the slide, which was just awesome. I could remember when that was a huge thing. We had an amazing, we had some parents there, and it was really cold that day. I remember that too. And ultimately, in the audience, we had a student who had just gotten elected as ASB president for their school. Their school was Bandini Elementary, and that was my elementary. So I was really glad to see that. And surprisingly, when we did the raffle to pick out the person who won to ride the slide first, it happened to be them too, right? So what are the chances how everything works out at the end? So ultimately, the ribbon cutting playground was great at the neighborhood youth center. I encourage all community to come out, check it out, and see it for yourselves. So shout out to Kaboom and the CarMax Foundation that made this possible, and obviously, and I'd say most importantly, our staff here in our city. This weekend, obviously, we had Veterans Day. Thank you for all the veterans for their service. Thank you for protecting our freedoms, and it's definitely honorable that you responded to the call of service. So appreciate that. Briefly, upcoming events, we have a movie this week happening Friday at Veterans Park from like 5 p.m. It's starting to get dark really early, 5 to 8 p.m. give or take. We're watching the movie Elf, so it's getting right into the holiday spirit. I encourage everybody to come out and attend. And then also our farmers markets, don't forget, every Friday from 11 to 3 at Veterans Park as well. So if you have an opportunity, go check it out. I know it's our first year trying it. Perhaps it's probably in the first 2-3 months, but I'm interested in hearing feedback, right? What time works the best, and correspond and see. I know some folks have said we want to do it on this day, but we want to make sure it doesn't conflict with other cities around the area as well. So those are all variables that we're looking at, but please, if there's a way or a forum where we can receive that feedback, by all means, you could always reach out to any of us up here in the dais or directly to the city, and we would gladly take that feedback as well. And then finally, I know my colleagues mentioned it, but obviously we have Thanksgiving Day and then also Native American Day right after. So just want to make sure everybody's staying, has a great time with their family, and stay safe out there. And with that said, that will conclude my comments. Don't think that we're going to have a meeting until December. So with that said, that concludes the comments. There was no objection by the City Council. I will now adjourn the City Council meeting at 7:19 p.m.